Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Open Heart Closed Case Night on the Exceptional Conservative Show in memory of my daughter Shanice Milton, who was killed in 2015, actually on the 27th of May in 2015. Her case is unresolved at this point, unsolved in the District of Columbia. We appreciate all that the Metropolitan Police Department has done. And we do need the community to come forward in support of not only our case, but this particular case as well. Marquis Osborne, who was killed on the 25th of March in the 1100 block of 4th Street Southwest, right around 5:23 p.m. Eastern Time. We had scheduled Mr. Campbell and Jerita Osborne, Melvin Campbell and Jerita Osborne, to appear tonight. Unfortunately, they cannot do so tonight. They're still grieving at this particular juncture. We hope to talk with them at a future date and time to draw attention to the life. Calling 202-727-9099. You can text it to as well 50411, whatever information that you have. Ladies and gentlemen, the social distancing that's taking place still goes on. And I want to give you a story, and this is out of the Washington Post regarding this young man, Marquis Osborne. I want to show you the picture of him in his adult years. This is his father, Melvin Campbell, his mother, Jerita Osborne. In the center, of course, is Marquis Osborne. And as well, this is the gentle giant, Marquis Osborne, in the arms of his father, Melvin Campbell, with his mom, Jerita Osborne, at their side shortly after his birth. You see, Melvin Campbell is a father like I am. And while we always warned our children about the streets of Washington, D.C., I know that many of us are taken with the TV shows that you see of Capitol Hill and the White House and the U.S. Capitol and the Supreme Court. Yet there are other sides to the city, likened unto your city. And it doesn't matter that a coronavirus pandemic, is going on. Individuals still get killed. In fact, I'm going to tell you later on about a 2-year-old boy that was killed in Washington, D.C. just on Wednesday, April the 1st. But I want to focus tonight on Melvin Campbell's son, Marquis Osborne. In terms of his story, you can find it in the Washington Post. And it is a story likened unto many in the District of Columbia who, in a unexpectedness, were shot and killed. This is not necessarily the best of times for the family. They do want you to keep them in their prayers, in your prayers. But the story goes that the father had warned the son to stay off the streets, and it went unheeded. Even worse, likened unto our daughter, the young man was killed in his D.C. neighborhood. Now, according to Peter Herman, who is the author of this story, Marquis Osborne was a gentle giant. the one who doled out advice to his nieces and nephews, the one who set aside money from his job as a cashier to help his mother, who is legally blind. He had graduated from high school and was engaged to be married. However, outside of the streets around Southwest Washington's waterfront neighborhood, the 21-year-old was known as a tough guy. It led to disputes with other young men, his father said, and his son eventually moved away to distance himself from further trouble. He's not alone. Many young men and women do attempt to leave the hood, leave the neighborhood, because they know what the expectation of life is in the neighborhood. If you can get past 25, you've done good. I digress. Peter Herman continues. Osborne was fatally shot Wednesday afternoon outside the Safeway at the Waterfront Metro Station during a return visit to his mother's nearby apartment. His father, Melvin Campbell, learned of the shooting from a relative and sped to the scene. Let me show you a picture of that family once more. Melvin Campbell on my left, your right. Marquis Osborne, the gentle giant, in the center. And Jerita Osborne, his mother. You see, Marcus was loved, and he gave love, said his father, Melvin Campbell, who is 49 and lives in Congress Heights in the Southeast, part of my area of growth in my youth. But he also had another side, and unfortunately that side won out. And I want to thank Melvin Osborne, because during these time periods of investigation, many people cloud it with mythology and cloud it with lie and cloud it with innuendo. But Melvin Campbell is very honest about his son in this article. Now, it is the Washington Post, so I can't take it verbally as a literal guide. That's why I wanted Melvin to come on and Jerita to come on so that they could talk about Marquis. But it's what we have to go on at this point. And while Marquis was attempting to social distance himself from the hood got him anyway. And there is an ironic twist to this story about distancing. Osborne was one of 3 people fatally shot in the district on Wednesday, the 25th. A woman was killed earlier in that morning in Anacostia, and a man was shot later that night. And police reported 36 slayings this year. That's on par with the reported homicides during the same period in 2019, which ended with a decade high. Osborne was shot about 5:30 p.m. in the 1100 block of 4th Street Southwest, a normally busy area outside the metro station and between the grocery store and a Starbucks. Many people remember that area as one that was economically redeveloped. As I digress. A community leader said few people were out at the time due to social distancing prompted by the novel coronavirus. Here's the problem. Sometimes in our attempting to do good, there are many people that take advantage of that. I am quite certain that criminals understand that our doing good are attempting to keep people shut in so that we can save lives. It's an opportunity for them to take a life. want to show you again Marquis Osborne, the 1100 block of 4th Street Southwest, Wednesday, March 25th, 2020, 5:23 p.m. His death goes unsolved. Why? Because thousands of members of the DC community were forced inside, unable to see what was going on the outside. But there has to be at least one of two of you that heard something or saw something in the 1100 block of 4th Street Southwest. And so the police and the Osborne Campbell family are depending on you at this moment. They're depending on you to do something that most people are not comfortable doing in that area. Talking to the police and telling them what they saw and what they heard and what they know. You see, they need for you to contact Detective Ryan Devlin, 202-253-3829, or give anonymous tips via 202-727-9099 or text 50411. They need for you to do that. You see, we all remember this day. This is a day when we bring our children home and we love on them, and we pray that they have a life that we did not have. We pray that they have children and that you have grandchildren. We pray that they are healthy, that they grow wealthy, and they continue to grow wise. We pray that no hurt, harm, or danger, not only their youth, but even their elder years. But such is not the case tonight for Marquis Osborne's family. As they grieve tonight, unable even to do a vigil because of social distancing. You can't even get 10 people together in DC. You be forbidden by the mayor and the police chief of gathering. And many people will say, well, you have to understand, we're looking out for the lives. But grieving is a difficult thing, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone. It is difficult, ladies and gentlemen, to make people hide away what they're feeling on the inside. When you want to, on the outside, express just how much you love your child, express just how much you want the community to be involved, express just how much you want someone to tell the truth, and that the media would be there to cover it. People ask, why do we do what we do on nights like this? It's because often we've heard that in the urban community, people don't pay attention to these cases: unresolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, and child abuse cases. Most people say they don't listen to this at all. And what is they don't? The media doesn't listen to this story. That may not necessarily be the case, but oft it is the remembrance. So why does TECN TV take the time out to do this? Because we want to draw international attention to stories like this. We want the criminals off the street. You see, it's very easy for people to uphold people in their evil doing because you don't want them to go to jail. You don't want anything bad to happen to them. The unfortunate thing is something bad happened to somebody else in order for them to be put in a position where they can possibly be prosecuted for a homicide. There's a $25,000 reward for bringing information forward on the life of Marquis Osborne, or at least the death of Marquis Osborne. But there is something more than $25,000 that we should be pursuing, ladies and gentlemen. We should be pursuing justice, not social justice, but justice. Justice that does not worry about color, creed, religion, or background. Justice that depends on the fact that if the killer is loose in your neighborhood and he gets away with this murder, imagine how many more he'll be able to get away with. Oh, I know, it's not your problem. It's not your child. It's not your issue. It's not your backyard. It's not your concern. He's just another black kid. He knew what he was getting into. He was born in a neighborhood that was tough. He was tough. So it's expected, right? No, it's not. No, how many times you say that you do expect it to happen, you really don't. And no one deserves, because of where they were born or the color of their skin or any other characteristic, no one deserves to die on the streets, away from their family, away from their friends. And who knows who is involved. I want to close out here in terms of this story. As of Friday evening, police reported 36 slayings this year. Still, the location in the heart of an emerging neighborhood of luxury apartments and shops a half mile from the district's new waterfront promenade, the wharf, caused concern. It occurred outside the offices of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, and its chair, Gail Fast, said residents were anxious and wanted police to reassure them how they would deter this kind of behavior. That doesn't sound like an ANC that's concerned about Osborne. It seems like it's an ANC leader that's concerned that we just got the place cleaned up. How do we get rid of this issue? It may not necessarily be the case, but that's the way it comes across to a lot of people. That there is a useless and needless population that we need to eradicate so that we might be able to enjoy the wealth of our community. The more important people. As a child, Osborne had lived with his mother about 2 blocks from the metro station in public housing that predates the development around the Safeway store. He spent much of his teenage years living with his father, but returned to the waterfront area after he graduated 2 years ago from High Road Academy in the district, which is now closed. After getting into disputes, he moved in with fiancé in Southeast. His mother didn't respond to a request to comment. His fiancé could not be reached. Campbell said he struggled to keep his son out of trouble and that Osborne had a criminal case as a juvenile involving alleged threats. Campbell said Osborne strove to do the right things, but the lure of the streets kind of pulled him. We fought hard to keep him. He said Osborne had a learning disability and was referred from the district to High Road, a private school. After graduation, Campbell worked as a cashier at REI and wanted someday to be a police officer. Campbell said his son, who stood over 6 feet and weighed 240 pounds, was known by loved ones as a gentle giant. People thought Marquis was kind of a rough guy, but in his heart he really wanted to help people, especially young people. But he somehow couldn't pull it together for himself, Campbell said. Every time he lectured his son would retort, "Dad, it's different in his day." The father answered, "It might be new players, but it's the same situation. I would tell him there is no love in these streets." Campbell had thought his son was paying no attention to that advice, but one day he discovered his son's little nephews and nieces could repeat the lectures. Marquis had told them what his father had told him. It was both frustrating and enlightening for Campbell, a former U.S. Marine who was among the troops that entered Kuwait during the First Gulf War. His son had listened to him after all. He just didn't follow the advice for himself. Osborne's violent death did not come as a surprise. Campbell said he and the young man's mother knew this day would be coming. In closing, I want you to know something. That many of us have been taught that because of where you grew up, I grew up in Southeast D.C., so did Mrs. Biggs, so did Shanice and our other daughter. We grew up in Southeast D.C. and we were told, you're lucky to be alive. But I want you all to know that life isn't luck. Life is love. And if we really love one another, if we're really willing to show true love for one another, we would do everything that we could to bring closure for this family. A $25,000 reward for information regarding the homicide of Marquis Osborne, the 1100 block of 4th Street Southwest, Wednesday, March 25th, 2020, 5:23 p.m. We ask, we pray that you get in contact with Detective Ryan Devlin, 202-253-3829, that you send an anonymous tip, 202-727-9099, or that you text your information to 50411. All I got to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that families like Melvin Campbell and Jerita Osborne and Kim McClinton encourage you to do that which is right. Not in your own eyes, but in the eyes of God. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best in urban conservative talk. Tonight is open heart closed case night, and our focus is on unresolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, and as well child abuse cases. If you have a case that you want to bring national attention to, all that you need to do is pick up the phone and call 202-660-1329, extension 0. 202-660-1329, extension 0. Or go to TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com page, TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com page, and send a message. We will do our best to make certain that national attention is given to your case. Unresolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, and child abuse cases. We'll be right back.